What's up, guys? We are back with another NECA Turtles review, and we're actually taking a look at some Turtles this time with the Archie Comics Stump Wrestling 4-pack. So this is part of that current push at Target that sort of came out of nowhere like it usually does for NECA, and we're getting a whole bunch of the Stump wrestling figures that come from the Archie Comics. Of course, that includes the Turtles. You've got Leatherhead, Crying Hound, things like that. And this pack in particular, I'm really excited about, not just because it includes new Turtles, but because these are some of my favorite Turtle designs that aren't from like the vintage toy line, because they're so different. They're wacky, you know, Raph's fully blacked out, stuff like that. This does come in a little bit of a different style box than usual because it's themed to the Stump Wrestling sort of saga in the comics. So you've got that Stump Wrestling logo, the figures are there in the big window, and then everything's sort of done up like a wrestling ring too, and all the figures, characters' names are up top, and then the back of the box, you know, like usual, you get a bunch of product shots showcasing all the figures, and some of the other cross-sell, like Leatherhead that came out, and you know, Ace Duck, who I believe is coming soon. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about this one just by virtue of the fact that it's Turtles, but they're really weird. So let's do it. Let's pull them out and take a look. And here we go. Out of the package, we're going to use Raph as our guinea pig. You know, he's not my favorite turtle. I've said that a million times. But for purposes of review, he is the one that has nothing on him. These are all the same body, and they're all, as far as I know, they're all brand new. Like, I was really unaware of exactly what these figures were going to be like in hand. I've paid zero attention to other people's thoughts on this so far. So I went into this entirely, you know, uneducated, really. So these are not the same Turtles that we have in any way, shape, or form. And I definitely foresee this body being reused a million times over. So Raph doesn't have anything. You're going to be able to more readily see what these things can do. Now, I will say with that caveat, though, some of them are not as immobile as Raph, but it's only minor stuff. So maybe like a slightly reduced head range or elbow, stuff like that. But overwhelmingly, these are the best articulated NECA Turtles yet, I believe. So you've got a head that can look up. The necks on these are articulated also, so they move in and out, up and around and all over. Got really good tilt. Down is really good. Of course, you've got your swivel there. Arms out at the shoulder, they will swivel. You've got a bicep swivel, double jointed, pinless elbows. These work really, really well across all the figures. Raph, again, is going to be the one that they work best on because he doesn't have any elbow pads or anything like that. We've got hinges and rotation at the wrist. I will say on every figure so far, I've had to heat up all the hands. They have been very, very stuck, so just watch out. I mean, it was a minor amount of heat, but it's been consistent across all of them. Torso is just as articulated as every other part of this figure, and in new ways. So there is, you know, you've got your cut here at the diaphragm. You can see it. So he's got really, really good tilt now. You've got some backwards, slightly. The shells they're connected up towards the top into the back, and they're slightly pliable. So they do have some give to them. And then you can actually get a turtle to start crunching finally. Like that's forward, like all the way, pretty good, because of the undershell is kind of like a bib almost. So it's a separate piece that's also connected onto this upper torso part, and it's really, really pliable. So you've got really good range. It's certainly possible that if you mod it, it might even get better. But right out of the box, really nice. Legs go out to the side. They kick forward all the way. They kick backward slightly. You do have a twist up there. Double jointed, pinless knees again, so they go all the way back. Again, Raph doesn't have anything on his knees, so slightly better than the others, but only minor. And then you've got pretty good hinge and really, really good rocker down here too. The hinge on the up kick isn't as good as the back, but it's still pretty solid. These guys move really, really well. I cannot stress that enough. The articulation improvements and overall engineering changes on this figure is quite a bit different than I expected. They move better than any other NECA Turtle I can imagine. The only things that come close are probably the movie Turtles, but even these seem to be a lot better and just so much more in line with what a lot of other modern lines are doing. Now, as far as the overall look and feel, I'd say just as good as the articulation is, the visuals are right alongside it. The articulation was a surprise for me. The visuals are not. Getting them in hand, though, kind of confirms what I was expecting, that these do look tremendous. The paint job is a very, very comic-y. You know, you've got the heavy black line work on them. Bodies are all the same, of course, so you know, you've got 3 green and you've got 1 black here, and they all use the same underlying bodies, but they do, of course, have different pieces, different parts. Raph is the naked one. Donnie's got his own unique look, which I've never really been a big fan of Donnie's because he's the one that loses his signature color. Raph goes black, and that's fine. It seems like something Raph would do. But Donnie with the red always kind of throws me off. Mikey has a very just wrestling kind of look. He's got wrist wraps, he's got leg wraps, he's got the hood, he's got a wacky expression going. Leo, of course, has still a very ninja-inspired outfit. So he's got the harness on, he's got shoulder pads. He's still more in line with a stereotypical turtle compared to the rest. He's got the elbow pads, he's got the knee pads. But I think he looks great. He's my favorite turtle, like always, right? But he's my favorite looking wrestling turtle too, so that always tracks for me. I like the shells. They look really good. Just about everything on these figures looks terrific. I love all the goofy expressions that they've got. I will say that I wish they came with extra head sculpts. I can understand to a degree why they don't, because there's certainly some that are not going to be able to be reused. I feel like Leo's, you're not going to see those again. But some of these other pieces, we certainly will, because the heads, the top of the heads they're a separate piece from the bottom. So we'll see some of these expressions in a regular Archie pack, I'm sure. Donnie's got a really weird, sort of exasperated, slightly worried looking expression. Mikey looks crazed as always. Raph has probably my favorite expression though, just because, he's got the screaming, fully open mouth, furrowed brow, the whole 9 yards. And he, of course, is the one that stands out too, because he's so different. Raph, dons this all black uniform, which I want to say he wore it beyond the wrestling stuff too for a while. And of course, they go back to the wrestling, an asteroid in a few issues of the comics. But he gets a full black suit, and then he gets blue accents to sort of, kind of showcase light and shadow on him, which I think looks really cool. And it definitely works. It really works on a figure, too, especially on this shell. I love that blue line work in the back there. Really neat. But these guys just look terrific. They're slightly larger than the other turtles. Well, unlike the Toon Turtles, I should say. They're a little bit bulkier. They have a lot of just unique characteristics about the figure, about the sculpt, beyond the wrestling sort of get-ups that they have on. It's very obvious what these are, where they come from, the source material, and just the idea behind them. I think NECA did a terrific job from start to finish on these, and, I cannot wait to see these bodies used again for a standard set of turtles, which obviously I don't need any more freaking turtles, but I'm going to get them when they inevitably reuse these bodies. I think they did a great job just from start to finish with how these look. They look like they jumped, right off the page. Now for some size comparisons, let's do some other turtles. So we've got our Wrestling Leo here in the middle. This is the Disguise 4-pack Ultimate Leo here on the right. And then we've got the Super 7 Ultimates on the left. Basically, they're the same size as the Super 7 figures. They look fairly similar to the previous, cartoon turtles, but I can assure you they are drastically different in every single way. The sculpt could not be more different from these figures. They're just relatively close in size, basically height, but everything else about them is a little bit bigger. These are much bulkier turtles compared to the Toon figures that we've been used to for a number of years now. So let's pull our Ultimates Super 7 aside, and here is a Mythic Legions, a 1.0 figure. Let's pull, Leo aside again. Let's do a Marvel Legends, and he's handy and recent, so there's Death's Head out of frame. Let's pull our Legions aside, and we'll do a Figuarts. We're going to bring back the Standby Superhero Piccolo. Let's pull Death's Head aside, and we'll go something different and weird. Here is Premium DNA Earthworm Jim. And then let's do one more. Let's do a Mezco, and it could have been a turtle, but it's not. It's going to be the Mez Conan, as I usually do. So as you can see, they're still not like the biggest figures ever. They're still pretty much on the short side, but these are beefier, bulkier turtles that will look slightly larger in general than a lot of the other stuff we've gotten. They're maybe more in line with the Lawson turtles when it comes to the bulkiness there, but they're definitely bigger than all of the Toon turtles that we've gotten for years now. Now, as far as accessories goes, these guys come with a pretty solid spread. However, I will say that they're not going to come with the stuff that you stereotypically expect to see with every turtle release. And that might be my one area of criticism, is that while they don't necessarily need to have their weapons here, I would still like to have had them in Archie style for these figures, whether it works or not. I can understand the accuracy aspect of it, but I would have loved to have thrown some swords in Leo's hand because he would look awesome with them. Beyond that, they do come with a bunch of weird stuff that they used in the ring. So they do get a bunch of hands, and of course, Raph being a different color, he gets unique hands, at least unique colored hands, but they are actually different too. They all come with gripping hands on them in the box. Raph does too, but I took them off already. He comes with a set of fists. So he does get the set of gripping hands here also. And then he gets a set of style posy kind of hands. This hand is unique to Raph, as are the fists. And then for the other turtles, they just get hands to share. All of them, again, have gripping hands. There's a set of chopping, flat palm hand, waving, whatever you want to call it. A set of thumbs up. A set of pointing. And then a set of grappling, grasping kind of hands. So you get hands that they can share, but they do not each have unique, specific hands that only go to them, except for Raph. Beyond that, everything else they have is all wrestling themed. So you get the bell, which is like a very Flintstones looking thing with this little dinosaur. So you've got the bell right there. It doesn't really do anything. I thought it might move, but he's pliable, but he's not really going to do anything. You get the sledgehammer. We get the fire extinguisher. You get the ice cream cone. We get the the soda cup with a straw. And then you also get a can of soda as well. And this one's like been crushed a little bit. It's got like fingerprints in it, finger marks. And then the big accessory that they get is the folding chair. And I believe, if I remember, this is featured on the box itself. This is an actual folding chair. So you can fold it and have someone beat the hell out of someone else over the head with it, which I thought was pretty cool. It's a functional chair. Something could sit in that if you wanted, or it can be used as a weapon. But that's all they come with. So again, they don't come with a lot like you might think compared to some of the other Turtles, like the Turtles in Disguise set, or the last set of Mirage, or Punk Turtles, things like that. They do have a lot of stuff, but I do also feel like they're kind of on the limited side compared to other figures. If anything, what I would have really liked to have seen, as I mentioned previously, not necessarily just their weapons, just to have them, but to have some extra heads. Because I don't like the fact that they're always going to be like this. At the end of the day, it's not a huge deal really at all. But to be able to give them different expressions would have been cool. Although I also understand why for a set like this, it probably didn't happen. So yeah, overall, this is an absolute winner. Like no real negatives here, save for my slight gripes when it comes to accessories. This set is solid from start to finish. It might be, and I say this a lot when it comes to getting a new set of Turtles, might be my current favorite set, especially from NECA. There's just something really good about this. Not to mention the fact I really wanted these Turtles. They're different, they're weird, they're goofy, but all of these body changes and new parts and everything, incredibly well done paint jobs, everything about these figures look great. I mean, they're so different. I really thought these were just going to be sort of Toon Turtles done in a different way, and these are very much their own thing, which probably shouldn't have been a surprise to me, but was, and if anything, has made me even more excited to have these guys. I cannot wait for the inevitable regular Archie Turtles to come out of this, because we just know it's going to happen. So that's going to do it for this look at the NECA Toys Archie Comics Stump Wrestling Turtles. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and until next time.